Every dad hopes to pass something down. A story, a skill, a small obsession. For me, it's this: video games, toys, and the thrill of the hunt. This weekend, my son and I are at the Retro World Expo, a maze of nostalgia, plastic, and pixel memories. And maybe what's coolest isn't just finding the next game, it's finding new friends. And realizing what connects us now connected us back then too. It's time to flip and dip.
Clock's ticking, I'm flipping and dipping. Life's too short, gotta stay on mission. No rewind, no intermission. Every move's got a new addition. Don't let your sunshine fade. Don't wait for someday, babe. Flip and dip, don't let it slip. We ain't got time, don't waste a drip. Flip and dip, move those hips. Every second's go, come get your fix. Flip dip, don't waste your chance. Go chase that dream while you can dance. Time moves fast, don't stand still. Go get your dream, you know the drill.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Paul and we're here at the Retro World Expo. We're gonna see some cool stuff and hopefully find what we're looking for. Who knows? Who knows? But hopefully we have a good time. Now right off the bat, I am looking for toys mostly today. My kid loves toys, and that's what I'm looking for. It's a lot of fun to be able to share a hobby like this with my son, and it's really cool to find things that, he likes too. Now I'm not gonna lie, there's a persistent fear that he's gonna touch something very expensive and break it, but at the exact same time, I like having him at these things. Having him out here touching things is a part of what teaches him how to touch things and how not to break things. Today will be a balance of things that I like and things that he likes, but at the end of the day, isn't that what family is? One thing I've always admired about the Retro World Expo is the designs they have for the expo itself. Now this guy right here is a huge part of that. You've done a couple of the Retro World Expo covers, signage, main key art piece.
Yep.
What got you into that?
Well, I've known Kris for a few years from doing the shows, and he reached out and asked if I was be interested in doing some art for this show and his show out in California, SoCal Gaming Expo. And last year was our first year collabing with both those shows. And then we ended up working together for this show as well. And it's been a fun trip to go on with.
What would you say is some of your favorite work?
Probably actually the Slash piece I've really enjoyed working on. Slash is one of my favorite turtle characters, so I don't think he gets enough love. And I was like, you know what? Let me give him the love that I think he deserves.
Now, it's no secret that Earthbound is easily my favorite game of all time, and I kept passing this booth over and over again, one because they had a bunch of Japanese stuff, which I was looking for, and two, this guy back here was dressed as Ness. Now, funny enough, I didn't end up picking this up, but I probably should have. I've been looking for Mother 2 for a very long time, but it's not that uncommon of a game. I probably should have still picked it up though. The funny thing is I've been collecting Japanese games a lot more recently. There's a lot more Japanese exclusives that you can play than you'd ever think. Now, as you know, I'm going for a complete N64 set, but while I was there, I ended up finding 3 of the last US game I needed, Sculptor's Cut. Now the thing is, they were all above $1,000, and I actually have a lead on one that's less than $1,000. I also low-key want one that has a little indication that it was from Blockbuster. Now here's the thing, I didn't leave empty-handed from this expo though. About 8 years ago, I got really tired of looking around all the time to find my N64 games, so I decided to get these N labels from Etsy so that it'd be easier to find them. This sticker sheet used to be filled and now it only has one label left, the game I need. I recently picked up a new set of N labels, and these are all of the Japanese N64 games. N64 existed in 3 different regions, US, PAL, and Japan. There are roughly 85 exclusive Japanese N64 games. I say roughly because there's a couple of games that were both PAL and Japanese but didn't come to the US, and there's a couple of games that had just different names or were slightly reskinned in different regions. And since there's not that many, I'm going to collect all of the N64 games in the world. I've been sneaky collecting these for a while. Let's see how many I've got. Now the best thing about this set is how cheap it is. This vendor had all of the games in this bucket right here for $5 a piece. Didn't matter what the game was. And for only $5 a piece, I ended up picking up a bunch. Now, if there's a game that exists both in the Japanese and the US region, I might pick up both just because it's so cheap, but I'm not required to. There's only 196 N64 games in Japan and 243 PAL N64 games. Now, this is a Pokemon Stadium game we didn't get stateside. Here's a Mahjong game. This is a baseball game, and this is Custom Robo. That means we've got 26 exclusive Japanese N64 games. It's always nice to find new and interesting and beautiful video game stuff, but they also had a fair amount of toy things here, and let's get into that.
This is one of the most desirable Masters of the Universe characters.
Wait, was it actually only 18 bucks or was it like...
No.
Oh,
He bought the Moss Man from me for 18.
Okay.
And he bought the Scareglow for 125.
Yeah, that seems great.
And that's a figure that if you find it with like the cape and the spear, you're talking almost 400 bucks.
Nice. And speaking of toys, I'm about to interview somebody that was absolutely huge in the world of 80s toys. So, for somebody that has never heard of Boglins, what is your elevator pitch for what a Boglin is?
So Boglins came out of my work on Dark Crystal with Jim Henson, and the thing I'm known for the most is having sculpted and built the Mystics for Dark Crystal. I thought, it would be really cool to make a hand puppet monster that kids could play with the way I was able to have fun working on Dark Crystal. So
how was working with the big guys, the Jim Hensons?
The great thing about Jim is that we had so much creative freedom to try things, to fail, to try again, and that was unheard of. I worked on Dark Crystal for over 3 years.
That's wild.
Just that one.
That amount of pre-production
And in
time?
between, we worked on puppets for Muppet Show.
Your first job was probably what most people would consider one of the best possible jobs you can get ever.
And it was.
And then how did that ripple through the rest of your life?
I have to tell you, when I was working on Fraggle Rock, I went to Jim and I said, Jim, we are doing so much more creative things than the toy companies are. We should start designing and developing toy products. And he looked at me and said, Tim, it's a wonderful idea. I just don't want to do it. So I always say that was like the biggest and best kick in the pants I ever got. When kids become part of the toy, it's personal to them. There was never a movie or an animation or anything for Boglins, but kids got to make up their own stories, their own play pattern, and it reacts to everything that you do. You put your hand in it, no matter how old you are, the thing comes alive. So that's a major difference.
Has there ever been a line of toys that you've been like, wow, I really admire what they did there? Or it's like, man, I kind of wish I would have made that.
You bet. I have to say, the year that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out,
Yeah.
and I went to that showroom and looked at them, I said, this is going to be a massive hit. I knew it right away. And people said to me, why do you say that? It's totally different. It's crazy and weird and absurd and fun.
I hope that in through the internet, like Nickelodeon hears that and they're like, we need a Turtle Boglin crossover. That'd be sick,
Yeah.
But no,
that would be great.
Your toys are really cool. I think your
Thank you.
contribution to like toys in general is really awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with me, man.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Tim. It was wonderful to hear about his very creative life. Now, I'm always a big fan of charities that help other people out, and this one had a booth right here at Retro World Expo.
So I'm Sean. The charity is Extra Life, which supports Children's Miracle Network hospitals through gaming, whether that be video games, tabletop games, board games, you name it. If you are a gamer yourself, you can get involved by signing up at extralife.org. You can set up your own streams or different types of gaming events where you can take in donations. You can support local hospitals, so local Children's Miracle Network hospitals, or you can find someone, maybe a streamer that you're interested in, or friends or family who are participating, and just support them by donating yourself. Getting the word spread is kind of the biggest thing. And so that is something I do quite often. It's one of the reasons I'm here. And I do it a lot at work as well. People don't stop hearing me talk about it.
Now, I didn't go to a single panel last year, but I ended up going to this panel that the Pixel Game Squad and Retro Rick and Kris of the Pixel Podcast was at. It ended up being a pretty good one. You gotta say this, it's been a non-stop thrill ride for the whole family. What was your favorite moment of the expo this year?
I know it's going to sound cheesy, but it's probably meeting all of the fans of the podcast, all the YouTube family, seeing everybody that I don't get to see all year round, especially seeing Aaron and Ricky, who have never been to Connecticut. I've been friends with them for forever. So
this is your first convention in Connecticut, first time on this coast. What was a big difference, and what was like maybe a highlight about this that you don't see in SoCal?
Biggest difference was the pace that people and vendors come in. It was so much more slow paced. Even though the same amount of people are kind of coming in and coming through, there wasn't such a rush and such a hurry. So I feel like the biggest benefit for us, what we got to see from this as show owners, we were getting to like take in the enjoyment of like greeting vendors and talking to them and talking to people as they come in, versus SoCal. Again, amazing. We're thankful so many people are coming so quick, but you kind of lose a little bit of the connection because you're like, go, 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 unload, next, there's a line out the door, keep going, keep going. So the blessing in that is that we got to kind of talk with people a little bit more.
On a positive note, I would say that our attendance was up, which was great. Our line was the longest line we've ever had. Like when on Saturday and even today, Sunday, going into the show, there was like a huge amount of people to go in. We did a lot of changes with the floor plan this year to kind of open things up and like create more flow. And everything I heard from attendees and even vendors were like, man, we love the new floor plan.
Coming to this expo, is there anything that you're like, oh, I'd love to do something like that for mine? And is there something at your expo that you're like, I've got to beat with this particular thing?
Oh, I like it. You know, this is bigger than ours. I think you lose something with scale, like as you start growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
What's it like being 4'2"?
I don't know. What's it like being 4'6"? Ours feels a little homier, and I think I like that. I don't know how you keep that as something grows. I like that aspect of ours. I wonder about the wrestling. We don't have anything like that at ours, and I see a lot of cons year after year do that, and I'm like, there must be something to that if they're all doing it. So maybe something like wrestling.
I'm gonna make it out there at some point.
You got to.
Wrestling's big everywhere.
Totally.
But like like WWE's in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So like people are like extra hyped over.
I could tell people were going nuts over it. And I was like, I was showing my wife. She's like, people care about that? And I was like, they love it. This is awesome. Yeah. I really enjoyed how successful wrestling was here, but I also know that like I think we found like magic with the skateboarding in SoCal. So as far as like ideas to bring over, I don't necessarily have any yet that I feel like I want to like cross-pollinate with yet. So
now I feel like you might be asking yourself, so who's this guy right here? Well, let's get into it. You're in a spot right now where you have like you operate out of an antique mall, but it's like a retro antique
mall, yes.
Nice. And so what would you say are some of the advantages of like starting your business there as opposed to going right into brick and mortar?
To like hundreds of them almost, and each one is different, so you have to find one that suits you. But once you get it rolling and you're comfortable, you can be there 1-2 times a week. You can be there 7 days a week. And it just depends, how much you have to restock, or if you want to be there with your customer, and how you market it to people. But it gives you some free time to get some extra sales and kind of like see what sells in a convention setting versus what sells in a retail setting, because it's totally different. Two different things sell at two different places.
If you're selling online, you don't want to sell a lot of $5 to $1 things because the fees are going to eat it all up. It's nice to have a brick and mortar to get unload, especially when you're bringing in things in lots. Nice.
Yeah, for the antique type mall concept, I'm not always there, so people always contact me like, oh, I'm in the area, I can buy them. And I'd say, oh, well, I'm not there today, but you have to make an appointment. So you have that going on where you have to make an appointment with me to sell your items, which, of course, I try to have a couple appointments a day because I would say 50% of the people who confirm don't show up.
Well, not for nothing, he ended up having quite a few Japanese N64 games at his booth. Now the games you can easily play in English, those sell pretty well, but these other games, the sports titles, they don't really move. So they were happy to give me a big discount on this stack of games. You know, I ended up with a lot of sports titles here because soccer and baseball are so popular in Japan. That and Mahjong. And that takes us to 34 exclusive Japanese N64 games. Speaking of kids, I do owe one particular kid some toys. He came here looking for video games and toys, and I'm gonna deliver on that. You know, my kid has no concept of money, and if I'm rolling around here spending a ton of money on video games, I gotta get him at least something. He really wanted this AI Iron Man for some reason, and he also likes Deadpool, but I didn't get that for him. And he really wanted this Ghost Spidey, so we got him Ghosty as well. I was a little worried that these toys were too complicated for him, but I ended up getting them for him, and he loved them. Now, I'd be lying if I said I only got this for my kid, but I got this Titanus for the both of us. I've always wanted a full-on retro Megazord, and this one's a part of the Legacy Edition, but it's still pretty cool. A good friend of mine, Zach, gave me all these Power Ranger toys from his childhood, and I'm saving for him for when he's just like a little bit older. A lot of these are really rusty.
So it's been a good convention. A lot of people getting a lot of cool stuff, but it looks like we are nearly ending. A lot of great stuff out here, but you know, I am, however. Oh, great. Well, thank you for watching them.
I don't think I'll ever get tired of that. There's just so many kind people in the retro community. Frankly, I'm just happy to be a nice person in the community as well. I ended up with 2 more N64 games. I got this Goemon game and another one called Let's Smash. This one's a bit tricky because it was also released in the UK under the name Center Court Tennis. I feel like I'm gonna goof up exclusives a lot on this journey. And that gives us 2 more exclusive Japanese N64 games. Now these are all the N64 games I picked up at the convention. I also found this box of games that I picked up in Japan a while ago. Now, for the most part, I was always on the fence about whether or not I was going to get a complete Japanese N64 set, but these are all just games I ended up picking up for one reason or another. It's actually very easy to collect all these games, and there's actually less Japanese N64 games than there are US N64 games. I've mentioned this before, but the Japanese N64 games are usually at a fraction of the cost of US ones. Sometimes when you're picking up a game like Mario Kart, and you could play it in either language, it makes sense to pick up a Japanese copy that's only like $5. They are region locked, but they're only hardware region locked. There's just a tray in there that you can just replace or take out, and you can play these on a US console. The mod is about as easy as it is to mod a Super Nintendo to do the same thing. And there you go. I'm already up to 39 exclusive Japanese N64 games. And who knows? At this pace, I might go for a full Japanese set. And just so you don't have to worry, the next long form video I'm going to make will have to do a sculptor's cut.